The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com
We were on the break!
with Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Thursday, May 26th, 2022, Season 18, Episode number 10. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. Cowboys have activity in the building. Yesterday they have their OTAs. I don't know, it wasn't the beginning. The first practice was the day before yesterday, but this is the first week of OTAs. They have this week, next week, and I think 2 more weeks after that. I think they finish up mid-June with their OTAs. They'll have a little time for break before we head off to California, to Oxnard, California, for the training camp sessions that'll start up in late July. These guys are going to tell you about everything that happened yesterday in the OTA practices. I just was here just to kind of set this thing up and say hello to all the listeners out there. So it's the OTAs. Go!
More like OTAs, right? Because it's finally time to talk about some football. Oh. Yeah. Let's go.
Let's do it.
You really want to know what I really think now that I just said that happy thing? If you're just asking me for my gut impression from watching an OTA, I was like, this is maybe why I would have done a little more work in the offseason. And it's May. I get it. We're not panicking. But Tyron Smith had back tightness, so he didn't practice yesterday. And Matt Waletzko, the 5th-round rookie, was his primary replacement on the left side. And, Michael Gallup's still hurt. And Jalen Tolbert's dealing with a hammy. And something happened to James Washington's foot. And
Which
so
nobody has disclosed what that is.
No, but he's wearing a
whatever.
boot. He's wearing a big old boot. So, and not like a cowboy boot, like an orthopedic boot.
And those who know James Washington or know of him, that's an interesting thing because cowboy boot is a part of his thing.
And again, I get it. The season is a long, long way away, but I was like, this is what you could be dealing with if something happens in the season. Noah Brown, C.D. Lamb, and Simi Fehoko as your starting receivers, which they were.
Yeah.
And Matt Waletzko playing left tackle.
This is what I don't understand.
Okay.
Like, James Washington comes out in a boot, okay? He's got something, and it's not that serious. But yet when asked to talk about it, no, absolutely not. We're not.
No one
doing
will
that.
talk about it.
Yeah, no one wants to talk about it, what it is, and it's not that serious, but we're not talking about it. But yet, voluntarily, we say that Tyron Smith has back tightness, and that's why. That's just that creates a 5-alarm fire. Like, if you don't want to talk about injuries, then don't talk about it. But then, especially, don't talk about the one that everyone just pencils in. We're just saying well, who's going to play left tackle when Tyron Smith gets banged up or whatever, and then we're just feed into it. So I didn't really understand that.
Yeah, why is the one injury is like a state secret, and it's a guy that just got here that.
Okay, yeah.
And then the other guy,
and you can see evidence of it. There's something there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they could have just said Tyron Smith
personal day.
Yeah, he needed a personal day, but
instead
instead
I'm not coming. And okay.
What do voluntary mean? It ain't
Right.
voluntary. It's voluntary.
I asked the question to Mike McCarthy. I was like, I get that it's voluntary, but, Tyron was the only player that wasn't on the field today. So what's up with that?
Yeah.
And it was like, no. He was there.
Yeah,
he was
could've.
all the way up until the point, and then he had back tightness. It's just like.
And fans and media alike are like,
But
I've heard that song before.
Then again, though, let's also throw the other side of it is that if anything to a star, any player, but especially a star player, if there's anything that is any kind of discomfort, they're out.
Of course.
So
and that's,
you're not even going to mess with it.
Like I said, I'm not panicked in the big picture right now. I get it. This is the time of year to be smart about those types of things. But I was like, we're getting a look at the worst case scenario right off the bat here to start this thing out, because that would be bad.
Yeah.
If that was what they had to trot out in a regular season game.
Quite frankly, those two positions, the wide receiver position and the left tackle position, are positions where we already know it's thin. We already know these are potential problems because where they sit right now, none of us feels great about the depth, right? So yeah, you see right off the bat what that could look like, and I don't know, it makes me very nervous.
Yeah, absolutely. What else?
I actually wanted to ask you a quick question on Jalen Tolbert. You said James Washington was out. Jalen Tolbert was also out. So you got Noah Brown, you got Simi Fehoko out there basically running with CD Lamb as the wide receivers. First of all, do we know anything about Jalen Tolbert and what that?
He's got a hammy. It's not expected serious. They think he could practice next week, I believe. We're not supposed to disclose too much about what we see around here, but he's working out. Like he can run. It ain't, his hamstring didn't come off or anything.
Okay. Which again, as a rookie, you always get a little bit like, whoa, hey, you're a rookie. You should be able to kind of go through this. But it sounds like it's not anything that would be of concern.
Well, that's the fun thing. It's not. He was outside running around earlier this morning. But the other thing too is it's like, well, we need you to start, rookie.
Right, yeah.
We're not going to push you, even though you are a rookie. Like, you make sure that feels okay.
I can't remember. I'm sure it's happened, but I just can't remember a third round pick that has so much, like on his plate about expectations are so high for the third round pick. We need you.
We need you
to do stuff. That's good for him, but it'd be better if he was out there, in the off-season program and the OTAs. But like Dave said, he'll be fine. But this is a chance for these other guys. Think about it. Cedric Wilson just signed a $7 million a year deal with the Dolphins. Cedric Wilson was in the same boat as that we viewed him as we viewing Fehoko, Noah Brown,
That's a good point.
all these other guys. At some point, we're like, you're not even counting Cedric Wilson in there. And then it got to the point when Gallup got hurt, he was like, that's how good he was. He could step right in. I'm not saying these other guys are as good, but we didn't have Cedric Wilson on our radar for a while too. So maybe these guys can use this advantage and step up.
This is the time of year where it can be a benefit. I mean, assuming Tyron Smith is okay, I think it's a great thing that. Yeah, fingers crossed, and you can't just assume that. I get it.
Right, yeah.
You gotta, and normally I'd be like, whatever, it's May, but Tyron's history speaks for itself. Anytime he has to miss time, you should be concerned.
Back neck, you're certainly concerned.
But sorry, just what I was going to say real quick is, assuming that it's not a huge issue, that's great for Matt Waletzko to get a lot of reps. They need both of those guys, Waletzko and Josh Ball, to be practicing a ton.
Tell me there. I thought maybe I looked at this wrong. Maybe I'm getting my 6'7", 6'8" tackles mixed up. I thought that was Ball that started at left tackle.
Waletzko did a lot of it.
Okay.
Ball got some looks.
In team, I think Ball was out there somewhere.
So they're both getting some chances.
Wait, but Ball, they said they were going to work Ball primarily on the right side, and I swear I saw him on the right more often than I did on the left.
I thought the first time that they opened things up, I thought it was left. But I don't even know who's who. This is almost like a Des Bryant, Noah Brown thing where I'm going to have to figure out whose shoes or what, and because they're kind of I got to figure out
when they're in
number.
pads, they look very similar. Yeah.
Right.
I know.
Real tall.
It's funny. Waletzko got pulled for a pre-snap penalty yesterday, and McCarthy even said Matt did that or whatever. So he played on the left side a good amount with the starters. Yeah. Even if Ball did so as well.
Yeah. And then we can. I don't know if it's on your sheet there, but if we're talking offensive linemen, Tyler Smith did not start with the first team, and I don't know the reason for that. That's probably not what I would have done, but.
But that doesn't shock me. Does it shock you? Yeah. I look at this. I look at this team, and I don't know if it's across every NFL team because this is the only team I've covered.
Yeah.
But this team, I know traditionally, no matter who the coach is, for whatever reason, they want rookies to understand you're a rookie. So they often, even though we all know by the time the season gets here, they're going to be playing.
Yeah.
They just have a penchant for saying, well, start the especially in minicamp. Have your vet out there and make the rookie earn it. That just feels like what they do around here.
I don't completely disagree, but I thought it was a little interesting. Conor McGovern took every single first team rep.
Yeah.
I mean, there were probably 30 team reps over the course of the day, and Tyler Smith didn't get a single one. And that's fine. It's May. I'm going to keep an eye on it though. If that stays the same, if he hasn't worked with the first team by the time the offseason program is over, that's weird to me.
Yeah, and not only that, but also, McCarthy keeps saying he's a left side player.
Yeah.
So if he's not going to start over McGovern and Tyron Smith isn't there, and he's not going to play over Willetsko. So that doesn't.
Then you start getting what's going on?
Why don't you play him at left tackle and then play him at left guard on the second team if that's what you're going to do?
Well, but we also said, and I'll speak for myself. Last week we talked about that, and I said I hope they don't push him out to tackle this year. If he's going to play guard, give him the reps at guard. Let him get familiar with guard. And if he's a long-term guy that you think may be a tackle, deal with that next year. But as a rookie, you're going to need him to play.
Yeah.
Let him play guard.
I mean, Tyron's dealing with back tightness on day 2. What if I could tell you right now that he was going to miss 5 games? You don't want Tyler Smith playing any tackle?
I don't know because I don't know what Willetsko is.
Willetsko or McGovern?
If Willetsko is a pretty good tackle as a rookie, and I'm speaking relative terms of a rookie, then hey, maybe I'd prefer Willetsko because I think he might be a guy that's going to play this year because I think Tyler Smith is going to be my guard. So I think if I'm going to be without one, I'm just going to put him at tackle, and he's going to be the guy that might come in and play for Tyler.
Can you imagine?
Sorry, go ahead.
Can you imagine the defensive coordinators and the pass rushers that are just like, all right, we got Willetsko and Tyler Smith on this left side. These 2 rookies, guard and tackle. This is where we're going to rush over here. We're going to do this over here. And
everybody load up on that.
And by the way, that center there too, you can you can work with all 3 of those guys. Let's see what we can do. We're going to challenge him a little bit.
He's the grizzled vet of the group.
We're going to challenge him a little bit.
With lots of respect to Matt Willetsko. I'm not trying to trash the guy, but I don't know. Tyler Smith played tackle in college at the FBS level and was good enough to get drafted in the first round, even if not everybody agreed that he should have gone there. Willetsko was a 5th-round pick that played at North Dakota.
Yeah.
Tyler Smith should be the better option at left tackle now.
But then the question becomes, is he that much better for you to take McGovern at guard?
That's where I don't know. But see, Brian, our good dear friend Brian Broadus asked me this question yesterday on 105.3. I thought we talked about all this, and he was basically like, at what point do you start worrying about cross-training? And I was like, honestly, it sounds silly because, again, I don't want to overreact to Tyron missing an OTA, but, my opinion's probably different today than it was on Tuesday, where I'm like, if this is already something you got to be worried about, maybe. And I think the answer that I came up with, I was like, so you practice 4 days in a row at training camp before you get a day off. That's typically how the workload works. I would work him 3 days at guard and 1 day at tackle. I just think it would be smart to get him some work there at the very least. Doesn't mean you have to play him there, but I think he should start getting used to it.
Yeah, I would personally I would see in the first couple weeks of camp what I think, and they may know coming out of OTAs and mini camps what I think of Willetsko, what I think of Josh Ball. If I think one or both of those 2 options are, again, relatively speaking for their level of experience, are pretty good options at tackle, then I don't. I keep him at guard, and I keep working him at guard because my thought is that's going to be my starting guard this year, and I don't want to necessarily make it harder on him. I want him to really be focused on guard.
Do you know what omnipotent is?
Omnipotent?
Omnipotent, yeah.
All-knowing?
Well, he pronounced it omnipotent.
Who did?
Tyler Smith.
Please don't.
That's how he pronounced it.
Omnipotent?
He's 21. Whatever. Yeah. People do that. I mean,
do they?
Yeah. Well,
people in New Orleans, there's a heated debate between whether it's pronounced Burgundy or Burgundy, and it's
I have never heard Burgundy.
New Orleans is full of weird pronunciations, but right. People do stuff like that. I'd say omnipotent though. I think that's the right way.
We got the best of New Orleans, didn't we? I mean, we got the best of Louisiana, didn't we? Between you and Rowan, we got the best that state has. And Brian, we got the best that state. Well, he came from Texas. Brian was.
So did Rowan, technically.
Did he?
Rowan's from Plano.
I'm actually from Louisiana.
So is Rob.
I was born there. Yeah.
We don't.
Too many Louisiana people.
We don't claim 318 though. No offense. Like we're like
Shreve.
That's East Texas.
Shreveport's
East Texas, or Southern Arkansas, whatever.
Yeah, you definitely don't claim that. My point to all that is that that was his answer when we did a get to know the rookies. It's a pretty fun piece that Britt Johnson did the other day. It was good, and that was his answer to that. Was that all knowing, all power would be his superpower and all that. He had a lot of answers like that. Smart guy is what I'm trying to say. He's smart. He's a smart guy. He can figure that out. He can do that. He can go play tackle. He can play guard, and I like that. 75% at the position you are going to play. Fingers crossed. But this is a position you've played before, and truth be told, maybe, well, hindsight, I would say maybe they should have or could have done that with Connor Williams, but it never really was that big a deal. We never really thought, God, Connor should be playing tackle.
The team never really said that. Like we talked a lot about it just because that's where he played and was good at Texas, but like when they drafted him, they weren't at his post-draft press conference saying like, well, he could be a tackle. They were like, yeah, he's our left guard.
Yeah, they never said that. I wonder if I don't know. I wonder if the Dolphins view him as a guy that could be different, play different roles.
They just gave a boatload of money to a left tackle, so I don't know if he's going to be competing.
There's people in this building that thought he should probably play center. If maybe not practice him like the week before a preseason game, maybe actually do it all
maybe
off
just
season.
do it all off season. God, it was so weird.
It was weird.
I thought Dak also had an interesting. He was talking about Jalen Tolbert, not Tyler Smith, but I think the same logic applies where he's like, keep it simple for the time being. Like I don't need you to do everything right away. Like let's start with this and we'll build out. And once I feel like you're comfortable with what we're talking about at one thing, then we can worry about the rest of it. And I think that's probably a good approach for any rookie.
Yep. All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, let's talk about some standout players. I want you guys to give me a few guys that you noticed during practices. Again, they may be names that some of our listeners may not have ever heard of, but we'll talk about some of those guys when we come back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call and teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys? Jack Black. Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
Back to the break.
Whether you're watching from home or cheering in the stands, Essler Lenses will let you see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essler experts and find the perfect Essler lens for you. See more, do more, Essler.
Welcome back. We're in the second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. This segment is presented to you by blockchain.com. Go check them out. We were talking about OTAs. I wanted to hear from you guys some standout players. Give me some guys that popped yesterday as you were watching practice? Again, we're putting it all in context. This is an OTA practice. It is not what you typically see on a football field during a season. But just from the standpoint of what you saw that might have popped out to you, what were some players that stood out?
Well, I mean, I thought the most pop-worthy play of the day was Marquis Bell, the Florida A&M safety that we've talked about. They gave him a lot of money to sign here in undrafted free agency. It's very obvious how much they like him. Mike McCarthy said yesterday that they think he has the same type of skill set as a Jaron Kearse, like a guy that can play off the ball safety but can also be a dime linebacker type of guy. And he might have stepped out of bounds, but it's hard to know that live when you're watching it from field level. And he pick sixed Cooper Rush.
Took it to the stage.
Oh, yeah. Only at the Star. Only at the Stars there.
Graduated.
It's a graduation
just so you guys
stage.
know,
One end zone.
for people that don't get the joke, it's right now they're doing high school graduations for the city of Frisco in Ford Center, and so there's a stage in the end zone, on one of the end zones, where they're doing the graduation. So they were kind of having to practice around that a little bit.
I bet McCarthy loves it.
Well, I think they're outside today, right?
Yeah.
I would hope so. It's a beautiful day outside.
Yeah. So it was just a basic out route in the low red zone, 2-yard line. The receiver was actually wearing 19. I can't remember the guy's name anymore. It's not Amari Cooper.
Drummond.
Well, oh yeah, Dontario Drummond, another undrafted free agent. Thank you, Chris. And he picked it off and took it to the house, and everybody was super hyped, and it was cool. So I mean, it's fitting that he's a guy that people are talking about because of how much money they gave him.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Like that type of play. When I think of an out route around the end zone picked off to the house, I only think of Deion Sanders. I mean, that's what that's the okay. I mean,
Ed Reed doesn't matter what part of the field. it's on.
I don't even remember that play. I've seen Ed Reed pick it off.
Ed Reed had a play like that.
I mean, he
just kind of jumped in my mind, but I might have been thinking about one of his other mini interceptions.
But what I'm talking about is Jaron Kearse, that type of player. It's the first time I've really heard him compare him to Kearse.
Yeah.
But if he's that type of guy, think about covering receivers at the goal line, out routes type of thing. If you think he can be close to the box type of safety, what a skill set that is to be able to do that. Again, it's all early, and let's also, who did he pick off?
Yeah.
And how long did that ball get to the, sometimes those passes, they need to be a lot quicker. So I who knows? But it was a great play, and it's not the first time. Every time you look up, he's doing something. He's definitely been a standout. There's no doubt about it. They thought he was going to be good. He has been. I know on, was it Players Lounge that Chris Hall, the longtime scout, came on? No, it wasn't Players Lounge. Big Shots. I'm sorry. He was on the whole show last week. Talked a lot about Marquis Bell. Very, just they were on his radar. I bet they never dreamed.
Why was he undrafted?
I don't know, because he was a 30 visit guy. I really don't know. I'm sure Florida A&M had something to do with it. Just small school guy, and maybe that's the thing. That's what we talk about all the time about Dan Quinn and the vision, that he looks at that hybrid. See, that's the good, nice way of saying it. Hybrid. He can do this and that. Negative scouts can call him a tweener. Where is he? Is he a safety? Is he a linebacker?
We don't know where to play him.
We don't know where to play this guy. And so that's why some players have, coaches have different visions for different players. And so this was one. And, you would have thought, this being said, I'm kind of surprised they didn't draft him over Devin Harper in the 6th round if they like him so much. But
I tend to agree with that.
Yeah.
But
they said, well, we're going to money whip somebody, and we will him, and it'll be him.
They really did.
I just remember when 50,000 was the big signing bonus, 50,000.
They gave a guy named George Farmer 35 my first or second year, or maybe it was 50.
I thought it was 50. Yeah,
I thought it was 35. Either way, $200,000
to play safety, and a few months later he was playing receiver for the Seahawks.
He came in at receiver. He came here at receiver, and the Seahawks tried to move him to DB later. Yeah,
probably KP.
Micah Parsons is still really good at football, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, did he stand out?
Well, yes, but that's the funny thing about OTAs is they're going to keep the play going And so you have a chance to see the receivers and all this stuff. Like,
so he runs around the corner. He taps the quarterback on the butt.
Micah Parsons.
Play is over.
You know, I got you.
Play's over. You know that, right?
We're like, oh yeah, these young tackles are getting so much work. Micah Parsons whipped their asses like 3 different times. Just like, Micah's in the backfield. This play's over. Like, I know Cooper Rush is about to throw it, but this play's over. Like, that happened like 3 times yesterday.
Yeah. Go ahead and throw it if you want, but yeah. And you know, it's funny.
It's like, it's almost like it's like not even worth talking about because it's like, well, yeah, it's Micah going against the backup tackles.
It's kind of a where's Waldo too, because you're watching these drills and you're looking, and you're like, all right, there's Gifford and Leighton, and you're like, something's not right here. You're like, oh yeah, where's Micah? And you're like, okay, pass rusher. There he is. Yeah.
Oh, he's down there.
He's down there. He's working on the drill.
So he was doing both. He was doing linebacker. He was doing pass rush.
But he had a moment. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
He everybody's got their routine before. It takes an hour for the interesting part of practice to really start. Like, guys are in their position groups. They're working with their coaches on their footwork. They're doing this and they're doing that. Micah did this 2 or 3 different times. Like, he was with Trayvon and the corners working on the jugs machine. Then he sprints over to like go work with pass rushers on handwork and stuff like that. Later on, he's doing not like true 7-on-7, but he's doing like the 7-on-7 install or whatever you want to call it, where he's like calling out the back 7, jogs across the field to go work on the trench stuff later. I was like, this guy's getting his steps in, just moving between all the different things he needs to be doing.
Yeah, they were. I mean, I think it's okay. I mean, they were working out a punter. Was it him? I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Micah?
I mean, maybe. I mean, I didn't see him punt.
Well, I was just about to ask, like, was he doing punt returns?
He could.
Use one.
Who's punt return? Here's something that I'm sure they would not want me to say, and this is just my observation, but I got the sense that Sam Williams is going to be doing similar things as Micah.
I didn't see him put his hand in the dirt a whole lot yesterday.
I saw him playing some linebacker, but I also see him rushing like right over the center. Like, right, just doing some things. Like, I could just see him doing things in a similar way, like rushing him in different ways. Just what a nightmare that would be for other teams. If you've got rushers that are coming from all over the place, you know where D-Law is going to be. Cool, let's try to stop him.
Yeah.
But then you got other guys that could just mix and match, and that's going to create problems if he's capable. I'm not saying he's going to be Micah, but if he's capable of rushing like that'll be interesting.
I do kind of love the idea, and that's what we always talk about is, like, tight end is kind of similar. I talked to Dalton Schultz about that a lot yesterday, just like there's really only so much you can do to get ready for the physicality of like going against NFL defensive ends as a rookie. And defensive ends are kind of the same way. That's why, like, unless you're like a Myles Garrett, you typically don't start out fast because like going against a Tyron Smith is incredibly hard. Well, maybe you don't have to ask Sam Williams to do that. You're just like, well, we got 3 guys that can do that stuff. We'll just line you up somewhere.
Figure out a way to put you somewhere and let you go.
Yeah, we'll line you up somewhere where you can just try to have a free run or as close to it as possible. So yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, it was interesting yesterday. I saw that Tank was talking after practice about the fact that he let a rookie kind of outshine him last year. He was talking about Micah. And he's trying to reassert his dominance as the alpha in the room on the defensive side of the ball, which I'm like, I'll bring it. Like, yes, I would love a competition between you and Micah to see who can be the biggest, baddest dude on the team, So, I love that. We'll see how that works out because I don't see Micah getting any worse. I only see Micah going up. So, see how that goes.
Micah will only get better if D-Law is out there.
Yeah.
True.
So
true. That's very true, yeah.
And maybe vice versa,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Tank. But either way, I mean, I think that's a great problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who's your best defense? But you talked about tight end. I mean, they obviously need a second tight end. They need a blocking tight end. And Ferguson is the guy that, they drafted and all that. But, I mean, if Sprinkle's going to catch touchdowns – He had 2. If he's going to do that, cause he is kind of a blocker, and they used him a little bit more as the season went on last year, probably because Blake Jarwin was injured. But I don't think Sprinkle's ready to just give it up, and not compete for it. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. 2 and 3.
Jeremy Sprinkle and Sean McKeon both got plenty of reps with the ones yesterday, and I don't remember seeing Jake Ferguson get one, and that. good, honestly. And, like, not anything against Jake Ferguson, but, like, it's a tough, again, for the millionth time, it's a tough position to transition to. And that's one, like, and I get it, you're curious about the draft pick, but, like, people ask me a lot of questions about him, and I'm just like, he's going to have his work cut out for him to beat out a 7th-year vet and now a 3rd-year vet in Mckeon behind the franchise tag starter. Like, I don't like nothing's going to be handed to that guy. You got to prove that you're definitively better than they are.
This is a point that I think Dave brought up a couple weeks ago in one of our meetings, and I'm sure we're going to write about it or something. But the second-year guys, last year's draft class, are having a hard time finding roles for them. I mean, these guys are Josh Ball being one of them, Nahshon and Wright, even Kelvin Joseph, Mkwamu. I mean, I know I'm missing a couple. Golston.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about him in a second. He's creating a spot for himself. Fehoko, those guys right there, there's nothing's guaranteed for them other than like Micah, And so imagine the rookies of this year that just got here. I mean, if last year's rookies are like, well, I'm trying to fight for a spot, then of course they are too, and with a year behind. So
I would say
it's a deeper roster than I think people are giving them credit for. I mean, this roster has got some talent in it, maybe not the heavy hitters that you want them to have, but I think that they're starting to show that they do have some pretty decent depth.
Maybe not. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Or that the draft, because if the draft picks are having a hard time getting on the field and the team doesn't suck, I mean, then I think that's showing that. That there's got some decent depth.
And I think the point needs to be made on that when you said not the heavy hitters that you want, but not the heavy hitters you've been used to seeing. They may have other players that can step into some of those roles that they feel like can step into some of those roles that we haven't seen yet, that we will see if they can be that, right? If they can get, let's say, Sam Williams to be a guy that can be a good pass rush specialist for them, essentially that's what they were getting out of Randy Gregory. Randy Gregory wasn't a player that they used a ton. Like, they didn't use him. You look at his snap count, he wasn't used a ton. If they can get that kind of production just from a pass rush standpoint between him and whatever other guys they've brought in, then they may feel like they've already supplemented that in the way that they needed to supplement it. It may just be different. It may look different than what we've been used to seeing.
You're not wrong, but I'm just not going to give it the benefit of the doubt. And I do agree.
I'm not saying that. I'm just
the roster. There's depth on the roster. A lot of it's not proven. Like, you look at it and you're like, I feel pretty good about like spots 30 through 50 just in terms of having talented guys there. But who's going to step up and be somebody that I can count on? I mean, I think about this all the time, and I know there were issues with Joseph Randle that were beyond football that got in the way of his success. But like when DeMarco left, you remember the just boundless confidence in the building about how the meat on the bone comment? They were like, well, this guy can be better than DeMarco. Like, we're good with Joe. We got Joe.
Yeah, McFadden.
We got, and
Morris.
Sometimes they're right. Sometimes it does work out like that. A lot of times it doesn't. Like, this is the time of year for boundless optimism. And I'm just like, okay, maybe James Washington will be that dude when he gets a better opportunity. Or maybe we'll all wish Amari Cooper was still here in October.
And we're saying the same thing. I'm not saying that it's proven. What I'm saying is it just may look different. And it may look, that's what they're hoping. They're hoping that they still have the same level of productive players. It's just going to look different than what you've been used to seeing to this point.
I would sign the best wide receiver free agent out there right now that can play.
I would too.
Can play today.
Who is that guy?
Not the guy rehabbing an injury.
Yeah, I know that. But who's the guy that's out there right now that you could think of?
I don't know, but I'd sign him. And not only because I need a guy to come in here and perform, but I really think when the season starts, I think I'm going to need that guy.
Yeah.
Even when they come back, I'm not sure Washington and Tolbert will be. I don't think Gallup will be ready. I could use that guy, and I understand the term progress stopper. What? Give it.
Julio Jones?
Yeah. I'd sign him.
He's kind of Tyron Smithy at this point.
Yeah,
in terms of how healthy he is.
I can't rely on him. I need somebody I can rely on.
Will Fuller, not reliable health-wise.
Yeah. That's probably why a lot of them are out on the free agent market right now. Is because they're probably not reliable players.
Cole Beasley.
Nope.
No, not interested.
Nope.
T.Y. Hilton.
Not even a little bit.
Literally all of the guys
all got something.
The only one that looks appealing is Odell Beckham, and he won't be healthy until way after the season starts.
Yeah. You want to amend that statement, or are you still going to get one of those guys?
I'm trying to think.
Alan Hearns, bring him back.
Oh my God.
Good.
Is he still like?
I don't know.
He's still on a list.
He's on the list. I don't know
By the
what
way,
he even did.
love
last
Alan
year.
Hearns.
Great guy.
Just don't think that he fits for what you need right now.
I'm wrestling with the little guy.
I don't know. I'm not.
Did he? Hold on. Has he said enough things where like he wouldn't be welcome back? I don't think so, right?
Not for me, but what? No.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm done there, but you feel free to take that option if you want it. But
well, why is he available?
Because
he wanted out of Buffalo, and he's 33 and has a very specific role.
Yeah. Earl Beasley.
Nice.
I don't know. I mean,
the thing is, he can't give you the versatility you need. If you need somebody that can step in and do different things, he's not that guy. He's a guy that's a slot guy. That's it.
And I've said this. I mean, I think that his situation with Dez, they were perfect for each other because Dez really wasn't going to play in the slot and he wasn't going to play on the outside. And I think he benefited from that and benefited greatly. And he was a really good player.
But CD does play in the slot.
Yeah, CD does play in the slot.
CD spent most of the day yesterday.
And you want your number one to be able to do all those things to create some
So he can't help you because now when CD's in the slot, where does he go? To sideline? I mean,
Stephon Diggs seemed to make it work, but
but did Diggs? I don't know if Diggs played in. I don't know.
No, I'm just saying. With Beasley there in Buffalo, they were making it work. I mean,
but my question is was Diggs primarily an outside guy? He didn't go into the slot, so it allowed for
they're
Beasley
not
to do
signing
that.
him. So this is a waste of time. But I think they do need to sign somebody that is healthy and
he's got a new song.
Does he?
Yeah, want to go check it out?
No.
I'm good. I would probably. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Hey, if you're a hip hop connoisseur, you have no desire.
Beasley wasn't.
I listen.
Terrible.
He's not bad for a football player. But I don't.
It's all relative, right?
Feel the need to go back to it.
I just remember that one thing we saw. I guess he was in a studio or something. It was like, take a breath. Like it was like it was impressive. I mean, I was impressed by it, but Anyways.
I didn't mean to take us down that road. What I was really going to say is,
Nick took us down that road.
They drafted 11 guys last year, and 2 of them kind of came out of last season with defined roles. It was Osa and Micah. That's about it. And you can't even say Jabril Cox because, like, as high as your hopes are for him, he hasn't done anything. He's been hurt, and he's not ready right now. He's not practicing right now. So that is, I'm not good at math, but that's 9 guys. They need more than a couple of them to rise up.
Now,
Deuce, come on, I need you.
Let's talk about one of those guys that showed up yesterday in Chauncey Golston. With Osa being out, Golston was in there at defensive
quad bruise for Osa. For anybody wondering, I don't think it's super serious.
No,
probably took a helmet on the leg. On Tuesday or something like that.
But I think that from what it sounds like he's gained some weight to this is going to be a permanent move for him.
Chauncey Golston he's a D. You don't have to worry. He's a D tackle now. That's their plan for him. They want him to be able to play 3 tech and maybe even some like 5 tech when they do their hybrid stuff.
When you think about what they got right now at defensive end, I think that's the best option for him. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. And wasn't Golston a defensive end at the Senior Bowl, and then he wanted to play tackle?
He was a D end in college, and for most of his career, and they were short on tackles at the Senior Bowl, and he offered to kick inside, and he did it. He did it at this time last year too. Like they played him at tackle when he got here before he got hurt.
But is that the common thought right now on the football side of the building that he is a defensive tackle?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, like he's put on 20 pounds of weight. That's like, this isn't like maybe we'll do some of that. Like they view him as a D tackle right now.
Can I just tell you right now, when we do our 2 to watch right before the first preseason game,
it's going to be your guy?
It's going to be Chauncey Golston, because I'll say this. You won't see a lot of them in pads. He'll flash a couple times here and there. He'll be good. He'll get past the guard, or get the left guard, whoever. He'll get past Tyler Smith and all that, looking really good at tackle. But he's gained some weight to get there. He's still kind of a pass rusher. Let's see what happens when he gets locked up against a real all-pro or just a veteran guard. Can he withstand that? That's going to be the key. Yeah, 3rd and 9, he could rush from the inside and he could be good. 3rd and 2, running at him, I want to see what happens
give up ground?
then.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he can't, but I think that's going to be the big question for him.
Yeah.
So,
all right, we're going to take our final break. We'll come back, and we got a few more observations we want to hit from practice. We'll do that when we come right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching grandma how to video call. And teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Back to the break.
The 9th annual Reliant Home Run Derby is back at Riders Field in Frisco on June 7th at 6:30 p.m. Come see your favorite Cowboys players swing for the fences to raise money for the Salvation Army. Free admission to all. See you there.
Welcome back. It is the final segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. I want to talk about something that's a little more somber than something than the other things we've talked about throughout today's show. I'm sure everybody out there listening is aware of the mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas, that happened on, I think it was Tuesday. But it was interesting yesterday because several of members of the Cowboys organization, the head coach, Dak, Tank, had statements about it when meeting with the media. And it was what was most moving, I think, to me was not necessarily the words, but certainly the emotion that we saw from Mike McCarthy. I think a lot of us may have experienced similar kind of emotion. I know, Nick, you and I were talking the other day, and I could sense it. You were kind of feeling it and kind of welling up, a little bit in you. I got home that night. My wife was crying and just kind of, just kind of. I think when you have kids, you look at this situation and you immediately start thinking, man, I don't know how I would manage that. I mentally don't know how I would manage a situation like that, where I was placed, where my kid went to school one morning and didn't come home that night. I don't know how mentally I would be able to manage that. And so a really, really tough situation. But what did you guys think based on, guys, what you heard yesterday and what you saw?
I mean, people are, these players are human, obviously. And this relates to everyone. If you have kids, obviously it does. If you don't have kids, it doesn't matter. Because everyone's been in the second grade. Yeah. Everyone's been in the second, third, fourth grade. And I'll tell you this, when I was about that age, anytime I saw a storm cloud, I was scared. I was scared of we live in Oklahoma. I thought it was going to be a tornado every time. I was always scared of that every
because you drilled
time. Yeah. But when I went to school and we had a drill or it was a thunderstorm, I never cared. I never cared because you know what? I'm at school. Nothing's going to happen to me at school. Never. And that's the fear is, and I got honked at yet the day afterwards, letting my kid walk to school, walk to the, he's got to walk 40 yards after I drop him off. I watched all 40 of them because I want to see him get into school. That doesn't mean he's safe, but I wanted to see that. Ladies honking at me behind and all that. give a shit. I'm sorry, I don't. And so, anyways, everyone's got their opinion, but I thought the guys, were it was the guys that should have said it. And they all can have an opinion. I saw that guy for the Warriors that had some really good things. He doesn't even play, and he has great things to say. No, not Steve Kerr, one of the other players.
Oh, I got you.
But Tank, Dak, McCarthy, they all said what they should say, and everyone wants to answer, wants change.
I had a funny moment yesterday, which I don't have kids. I can't.
But it doesn't.
No, I know.
But you
of course,
you're
human.
Feel it. You still feel it.
I was getting there.
Yeah,
but,
sorry.
Of course. But I texted a friend of mine yesterday, and I was like, do you even want to have kids? Is that something I should aspire to if this is the reality that we live in? And so I was just going back and forth with my friend like that.
Wow.
And then later that day, Dak said something. It kind of took my breath away. Dak was like, I'm kind of fearful to have kids if this is the world we live in. And for Dak Prescott to say that, I kind of had a moment where I was like, crap.
Yeah.
Dak is he's confident. He's like the most confident guy I've ever been around. He's like
and optimistic.
For him to say that hammered home just how horrible the situation really is. And I don't know, man. It's gross. I hate the fact that I'm even trying to couch my words right now because how is this such a divisive issue? How is this being bad something that pisses people off? Well, you can't say that. It's easier or it's harder for me to go buy a razor at CVS than it is for somebody to get that gun. Mm-hmm. And that's not okay. And the fact that me saying it's not okay is going to piss somebody listening to this off is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I could go on and on and on and on, but at this point it doesn't feel like it would do any good.
Yeah, and that's the tough thing. I was telling somebody this the other day. Regardless of where you fall politically, the fact is this country, there's something built into the fabric of this country when it comes to guns that doesn't really exist in any other part of the world that I'm aware of. And a lot of that has to do with kind of how the country was formed and fighting against another government that they felt like had ultimate power over them. And so there's this inherent thing of we got to keep our weapons. And because of that, we have this feeling. There's a feeling in our country for a certain number of people that's just a right that they are not willing to give up. And it doesn't matter what the circumstance is, they're not willing to give that up. And I think that's where we end up in a situation like this where, although you look at it and you're like, common sense says this is a problem, but it's something that's built into this country. And it's that's why it's so problematic, and trying to find a solution is so problematic.
Well, does it have to be an assault rifle?
Yeah, no, it does. Right, yeah.
You know what? The funny thing, I was talking to Taylor Stern, our old friend, about this yesterday. She bought a handgun years ago. She lived alone. She wanted it for protection. I'm in favor. Honestly, it's like people think that there can't be middle ground here.
Right.
I'm pro Second Amendment. Yeah. I don't want it to go away. What about background checks? What about
certain weapons,
waiting periods? What about maybe this rifle that can fire 40 rounds in 10 seconds just shouldn't be available? I'm sorry. You can have your hunting rifle. You can have your handgun for self-defense. I just don't think you need an AR-15. And I don't care if you've got a hog problem on your property. There's another way you can figure that out. Yeah, or even maybe if that's what you need it for, you can. We were talking about your daughter getting her driver's license the other day, the day that this happened. Mm-hmm. And we were like, you got to take weeks worth of classes and pass these tests.
Months worth, yeah.
To drive a car.
Yeah.
To drive a car.
Yeah.
You got to jump through 10 different hoops to be able to drive a car. Why not, somebody was like, maybe a 48-hour waiting period to buy a gun like this. How about a 6-month waiting period? If you need it that bad for a practical purpose and you're that responsible, you can wait. Everybody else, sorry, too bad. What's so controversial about that? It's unbelievable.
Well, also,
and you can still have your, like I said, you can have your revolver for self-protection or whatever. I'm not trying to take that from you.
Yeah.
We just need a little bit of common sense here, and we can maybe avoid some of this crap.
Yeah,
Think about it
but you got to pick up the pace, though.
I mean,
yeah. Well, yeah. Let's not go there.
I'm just saying, no one's saying, well, man, we don't have enough people with driver's license. No one's doing that poll. We are worried about ranking of.
Yeah. I mean, we should be.
Whatever.
You should have to take another test once you reach a certain age, or like once you've been gone from, like once enough years have passed from your driver's test, you should be retested.
Well,
I can go on and on about this.
Let's think about this. An 18-year-old in the state of Texas can go and buy an assault rifle. They cannot go and buy liquor.
That's what I'm saying.
The laws just don't match up. That's my thing. I'm just like, let's get something to make sense here, because it doesn't make sense. You can do a lot more damage with an assault rifle than you can with a bottle of liquor. And I feel like if they're not mature enough to be able to be responsible, be able to be allowed to be responsible enough to drink and handle themselves the right way, then what makes you think that they're responsible enough to handle an assault rifle? That's where and again, I'm with you, Dave. Like, I don't know that this means, like, I'm not trying to take people's guns. I'm just saying, like, is there a common ground that we can find here that makes some sense? It just doesn't all make sense right now.
Well, I'm not comparing this at all to 9/11. I mean, I'm not. I mean, some people could say whatever. All I'm saying is this stuff happening in an airport right now?
There's a reason why.
It ain't gonna happen in an airport,
right?
And we got to get to that point where, and I know there's a ton more schools than there are airports. I get it, but it's got to be treated somewhat on that path of what our schools are.
Yeah, not to get too philosophical, but I don't know if you guys have heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The whole premise is you can't really reach certain levels of needs if the basic levels aren't taken care of. And in that same way, I look at my kid going to school as the priority. The first priority is you better keep them safe. Mm-hmm. Because when I drop them off in the morning, my expectation is, number one, I get to get them back in the evening. Number two is you're going to educate them, right? But if you can't keep them safe, then the education becomes somewhat irrelevant. So you can say what you want to say about, we got a lot of schools, it'll cost whatever amount of money. If you're not protecting them, then everything else becomes irrelevant. Right. So first priority for every school district, for every city, figuring out how they deploy their police departments, it should start with, how do we take care of our most vulnerable, which is kids. They're at the top of that list. How do we take care of our kids? How do we make sure they're protected and they feel protected? And if you can't do that, you're missing on everything else, because that is the top priority.
The irony, too, is like, and I don't want to speak too confidently, but like, it seems like there were things in place to protect it. Like, there were officers on the scene and didn't wind up mattering.
Yeah, but that also questions like, what was their level of training?
Sure.
What was the security outfit looking like at the facility? Like, it sounds like the gunman went in through an unlocked back door. Like, again, there are all these different things that, like Nick said, it ain't happening at an airport. We all walk in an airport and we see a bunch of guns, and it's like one of those things where those people know how to use them. And if you go in there, you better be prepared for a fight. It's going to be a real fight. And I don't see why we would protect an airport like that and not think about how we protect our kids in a similar fashion.
It's depressing to. I mean, it's a good point, and DeMarcus talked about that too, of like better security at schools and things like that. And it's a good point, but it does bum me out that is necessary. Like, that's, I mean, because that is a more realistic path to stopping this than the other one.
The other,
right?
right.
I mean, like,
but
it is what it is.
That tells you how deeply ingrained this thing is, and I don't know that that's a solution. I tweeted it the other day when this happened. I've given up on trying for a political answer to gun violence in this country. Yeah. I don't know how to get there, because they're just, you ain't changing anybody's opinion on it. So it just kind of is what it is. But that doesn't mean I'm giving up on the idea of protecting kids, because that is a problem that needs to be solved. Regardless of everything else, you better figure out a way to protect these kids in these schools.
Yeah.
All right, let's.
This has been.
There's really no transition from that.
Yeah, it really
There's
isn't.
really no
It
like
really isn't.
punt return. You can't.
And I will say this too. I know there are probably. I'm guessing there are probably some people out there listening right now saying, "I did not tune in for this."
Yeah.
But there are some topics that, and we try very hard to stick to, talking about football on this show. Although that's not our lives. When we're in the office, we're talking about all kinds of stuff because we're humans. But I think there are some topics that kind of transcend whatever's happening on the football field. And this is one of those. And I just felt like it was necessary for us to have this conversation.
Our job is escapism, and I value that. Like, I value helping people sort of get away from their lives. Like, we do a service for people, but not everything is meant to be gotten away from. Like sometimes you got to take a hard look at things, and the team's talking about it. I mean, like everybody should be talking about it, regardless of how much it sucks. So,
because honestly,
we can make this one exception once a year for something.
Yeah, because a lot of times, and we've seen this in the past few years. I mean, these players, these announcers, they have a voice, they have a platform, and it's their job to use it. Now, you can make that case all the time. Well, it's not my job to be a role model or whatever. I know Barkley had said that a long time ago, but they have the platform, and the platform is for other things. But sometimes, I think it's important though to use it in a case like this. Especially, I hope his team doesn't win another game this year. But you know what, Steve Kerr, like I applaud him for attacking the people that he thought should be attacked. And he had his research and he had his facts right. I hope he does it again tonight because his team didn't play well and all that. And again, I'm not trying to light on it. I was very impressed with what he did, and I appreciated him doing that.
And what some people don't know is his father died from gun violence. His father was an ambassador, I think, and was killed in another country when they stormed the embassy. And so he has been personally affected by situations like this. And so certainly thinking about that, where his dad probably knew in taking that job there was a chance for violence, there was a chance he was going to be put in a situation where he might have to give his life. That shouldn't have to be for our kids. Like, that's where the line is drawn. Our kids, like you said, Nick, should be able to walk into their schools and feel as safe as they do when they walk into their homes. There should be no difference. They should walk in that school and feel like, man, I'm here to learn. I shouldn't have to worry about those other things. Yet it's sad that, just like you mentioned the tornadoes, we did tornado drills when I was a kid. Our kids are now living in a world where they have to go to school and they have to learn about active shooter training.
We did training.
Yeah, we did training
a month ago.
But we're adults.
I
don't want. I hate the idea that my child has to train for an active shooter in their school. Yeah. That, to me, that means we're doing something wrong. If that is a reality enough for our kids to have to train for it, we're doing something wrong as a society, because if you can't protect your kids, what are you doing? Like I said before, there are lots of priorities. If you can't protect the kids of your society, you're doing something completely wrong. You're missing the point.
Well said.
You don't want them worrying about it every day. You don't want them thinking, man, could this really happen?
Yeah.
You don't.
It's and I mean, you're 100% right. But it's just the world we live in, man. I went to a movie a couple weeks ago. That's in my head every time I go to a movie, every single time. And it wasn't even like opening night or anything. it was like Saturday night. I went to see something and had already been out for a while, because I like to go to unpopular movies so I can look at my phone during the movie. Because if nobody,
Wait, so you can look at your phone? Can you stay at home and do that?
No, because the movie's in the theater. I want to go see this movie, but I don't want somebody telling me to put my phone away. So I wait a month and then go see it.
I see. A movie you want to see. I thought you were meaning a movie that isn't that good just so you can watch your phone.
I want to watch this movie, but I don't want somebody yelling at me if I'm checking my text to see if Nick's talking to me or something. That type of thing.
Because that's it.
Some news is breaking.
But maybe I just want to look at Twitter. Whatever.
Maybe, yeah.
Even still, the whole.
Are there people? Good movie. Are there people that will call you out on that?
If you're in a crowded theater, and they should. That's rude.
But I'm always on my phone.
Might be me tomorrow.
I am. Me too. I'm definitely.
You in?
I've already bought the tickets, but my kids they don't want to go see it. But I'm I go see all your movies all the time. So
Top Gun.
This is one where Dad's going to be I'm going to pull rank.
We've had that conversation too. I'm just if you want to go with me, you can go with me, but you better not be elbowing me halfway through. No
restroom breaks.
I need more popcorn, or let's go.
You do what you got to do. But as much as you love that movie, I would go by myself. I would be I need to, Dad needs these 2.5 hours.
Should just save that to Father's Day weekend when you can just kind of break away.
Nick will probably go see it 3 times, honestly.
I'm definitely going to see it.
Really?
I'm all in.
I don't care.
Nah, you're not old enough probably.
Yeah.
The first one was times.
Yeah.
I'll wait till it comes out on streaming.
No, I cannot wait. And I don't usually go to movies other than taking my kids to see their movies. But this is one I want to see.
This is one, I know the first line of that movie and the last line of the movie. These random lines of Top Gun. I've seen it that many times where I know exactly what they are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've seen it enough. I'm ready.
What's the first line?
Morning, Scott.
You're right.
And the last line is, I don't know, but it's looking good so far. That's it. That's those.
I mean, you're talking. I mean, Nick remembers the score of games from the 80s.
That doesn't shock me at all.
Why would that surprise me?
Yeah. And where is that movie from? 1986.
Right in the wheelhouse. Right in the wheelhouse.
The greatest period of your life. All right, we appreciate you guys joining us. We also appreciate you guys indulging us. We had to have that conversation. We thought it was necessary. So if you didn't like it, then feel free to fast forward. But if you did, then I'm assuming a lot of you guys out there are having these similar conversations. Let's make it something that our entire society is thinking and talking about, because we need to find a solution to this. All right. So we'll see you guys next week. Till then, for Nick Eatman, Dave Hellman, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.